Let's do this. Reconfigured the office for this. Well, the studio. Pretty sweet, right? Hey, welcome to another edition of the Ripple Effect Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Harper, and today I want to talk to you about value, lifetime value. Before we dive into that, hopefully you are listening to this podcast. You're taking me to the gym with you. You are listening to me on a rather boring road trip, and hopefully I make it a little bit more interesting. Or you might be checking us out on YouTube. And we're recording many of these podcasts with YouTube where we flip on the camera so you can see the ugly mug beyond or behind this voice. So no matter where or how you are coming to us, either through your ears or your eyes, well, I guess if you're coming through your eyes, you'd also be coming through your ears. I don't know. I'm just saying thank you for being here. The feedback that I've gotten on the last several episodes has been amazing, tremendous. It is greatly appreciated. I love doing these things, and I've been off for a couple of weeks because I was caring for my dad in Albuquerque as he continues his rehabilitation from all the craziness that happened as a result of his fall. He is back home now. I took over from my sister who had him for 2 weeks. I let's just be honest, folks. I think that I may have missed my calling. I could have been a medical professional in some respects. I do remember playing doctor pretty effectively in probably elementary school. And I probably should have followed that career path, honestly, because my dad was sort of weak and frail when I got there. No offense to my sister, but maybe some. She babies him a lot. And I don't. I'm caring, I'm compassionate, I'm considerate, but I'm a hard ass. And I pushed him pretty damn hard to start, looking beyond, his current circumstances, start building his strength, doing his exercises with regularity, looking at the end game, which is to get him back on his own as a spry 86-year-old man living on his own, doing his own thing, not dependent on anybody or have a care in the world. And so, we worked really hard on that. Got to take a sip of coffee here really quick. Today I'm drinking out of my Longhorn mug. Woohoo! Hook 'em, baby. Steve Sarkisian's going to bring it to us, I think, this season. Let's hope. God willing. I mean, we're throwing enough money at it, which actually kind of ties into what we're going to talk about here, understanding and knowing your value, but I'll get to that in a second. But back to my dad, I just had to push him, right? And he and I have a really good relationship, as you guys have heard me talk about before, probably ad nauseum. He is one of my heroes of all time. He is one of the coolest, most sincere individuals, but he is a hard ass. He is hard-headed and stubborn. Unlike me, I'm a go with the flow kind of guy. I'm just totally kidding. I do not want to be electrocuted with a bolt of lightning from the powers above, whatever you believe. No judgment here. I just don't want to be struck down on camera or while I'm recording the podcast, although no doubt it would bring my ratings way up if that was the case. But then I would have no more probably episodes. And so I will not digress, not lie. I will just say, well, I'm stubborn too. And because I'm stubborn and he was stubborn and I controlled how he could get access to his walker, plus I had to feed him and, help him, sustain life, he kind of had to listen to me. And great progress, made huge progress over the last couple of weeks. So this is my first episode back. I have reconfigured the studio just a little bit. I am supposed to have was this week supposed to have an interview with a client of ours for our software company. Wanted it to, dress it up a little bit, make it a little more professional. Not that my videos or any of my backgrounds in the past are not, but it's a professional video. And so I was going to just kind of change it up a little bit, have my background a little different, a little more professional. And then today for you guys, for the ones that are watching on YouTube, obviously I still got Darth Vader over here and Kylo Ren over that way. Where's my thumb going? I don't know. I can't tell. That way. How about that? And got my little fireplace in the background. You guys don't often see that. And it's just a flip of the studio, which is the magic of having a space you can do this. And so I'm super grateful and happy and excited that I can do this today, and you get the benefits of that. So if you happen to be checking this out on YouTube, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, look for me, Steve Harper, The Ripple Effect. You will find us on YouTube. There's a lot of videos that are not podcast related that you will hopefully find some value in. I will get back to creating some creative content and having different topics just for the YouTube audience very shortly. But at the right now, just feels right to flip on the camera, do this podcast, and get rocking and rolling. I've got to credit my good friend, Dr. Asha Prasad, for encouraging me to just do this, right? So Dr. Asha and I have our own podcast called Conversations with Asha and Steve. Definitely check it out. It's pretty awesome. But last season, well, it was last season, but last year, she said, Steve, we need to do some live streams. I'm like, live streams? Why would I want to do live streams? I'm barely alive to stream anything. I mean, come on, what do you want me to do? She's like, we got to flip on the cameras. We need to interview and talk with each other, and we need to put it out there so people can see us, can get to know us as individuals behind the mic, right? And not just the voices, but the personalities, the people behind the mic. And I said, Asha, you've seen me on camera, right? You've seen my face in live person. Don't you feel like that could scare off our listeners? And she's like, I don't care. I mean, she was so gracious to say, hey, look, it wouldn't be you that would scare them off. It would just be whatever you're saying, probably. It wouldn't be your face. It would just be whatever your thoughts are that just flow sometimes from your head. And so, yeah, no worries about that. And so we invested in some tech, and I started playing with it. I've learned some new skills over this COVID craziness, and super excited to do it. But I've gotten a little bit more comfortable, let's just say. I've been a little more free to get on camera. I hate myself on camera. I am looking at myself right now in the camera. I'm like, oh my God, nobody is going to watch this. But if you're just listening to it, you're like, yeah, you're right. That's why I listen to you on the podcast. I don't have to look at you and, have those concerns in my life. I mean, I'll take the ripple goodness that you want to provide to me, but I don't want to see it in not real life, but sort of real life, right? I don't want to see it on camera or on film or the YouTubes or wherever this crap goes. Anyway, but that's why this rig, this setup, this whole 9 yards, and I'm having a blast actually with it. And my dad, I got to show him some of the videos, got to show him my YouTube channel. He's super bummed. He was struggling to get to the YouTube channel on his antiquated iPad. So I think that was a hint. Hey, look, Steve, I know you got more iPads than God over there. Yeah, bring one back for your old pops. It's a little more technologically updated, a little easier to navigate. These 86-year-old digits don't work as well as they once did. I need to be able to watch you, my son, my pride and joy on video, and I cannot do it as such right now. And I started to talk to him. Excuse me. Whoa. I started to talk to him about getting Apple TV, put it on the. Yeah, well, my dad doesn't see that well. He used to be really good on tech, but he's 86. What are you gonna do, right? And I could just see hours on hours. Hey, Steve, I don't understand this Apple TV. Why? How do I make the TV show you? Show the tube where you're at. You're the tube you, whatever that is that you're on. I don't get it. And you're not here. Why the hell did you put this thing on my TV now? I can't even get back to Dish so I can listen to any of the news programs that I want to watch, or the Smithsonian channel, or the military channel, or I can't even get to those 3 channels now. I'm on this Apple thing. I'm seeing stuff here that I don't understand. There's these things that look like icons, which is super confusing because that's what it looked like on the iPad. And I don't get it. I don't get it. Dad, we could control the remote here, just go up, down, sideways. Look for YouTube. The logo I put on there for you and just click there. Well, yeah, and then I get like, a bunch of videos of people I don't know and don't understand. And how can you just make it where when I click that little icon thing, your face pops up and then I can just start watching your videos? Well, Dad, I'm not an influencer, so I don't get really highly rated. YouTube does not feature my stuff. I don't know why. I've tried really hard. But as you know, I've got this face and I think that works against me. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's going to be a challenge. So how about we just like save those videos till when I come back and, visit with you and maybe take care of you for my second round when I come back as the awesome rehab PT OT guy that is making huge strides with you in your life. We can look at the YouTube videos then. Yeah, probably a good idea. Yeah, probably. No, definitely a good idea. So yeah, I decided not to do the YouTube thing. So I just kind of like leave it out there like a carrot and a stick. Dad, you keep improving on your rehab. You don't backslide with my other siblings when they're taking care of you and you come back and you look like a rock star where, and how I left you, then I'll reward you by being able to watch some of my videos, which as you can imagine, probably isn't exactly the right motivation, if I had to be honest. But going back to the hard-headedness and the pain in the neck that I can tend to be, he will probably do it because I asked him to do such. So anyway, that was like a complete train wreck of where my life is right now, why we have the camera on. And again, if you're listening to this, you're like, I don't care. If I wanted to see you, I would be watching you on the YouTube. But I'm not. I'm listening to you on the podcast. I'm waiting for some Ripple goodness. And you are just talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. You're right. I am just talking and talking and talking. So yeah, let's dive into today. First and foremost, this episode is brought to you by me, The Ripple Effect. RippleCentral.com is where you can learn all about Ripple stuff. Most importantly, this bad boy. Shameless promotion. My sister had to say, hey, you do the shameless promotion on your book all the time. Yes, I do. God dang it. I need to sell some books. This was expensive to do. Third edition, The Ripple Effect, maximizing the power of relationships for your life and business. Available now, RippleCentral.com. You get autographed copies. We got some promos that are going on right now. You do not want to miss. Sales numbers are off the charts right now. People are like committed to right now doing better job at connecting. And this book is the secret to doing it. This is one of many secrets I plan to share with you, but this one, third edition, packed full of new strategies, new ideas, new stories. The Ripple Effect is a great book, if I do say so myself, for you to check out to improve your connection game, to build the right relationships, build the right personal, professional network that you really want to have. You should check it out. I'm just saying. Available at RippleCentral.com. Promotions, autographs, all that stuff's available there. If you don't trust RippleCentral.com, although all of our secure purchasing is available, right? We take all major credit cards. I don't keep any of your credit card information. Totally secure, safe. Won't even put you on a list. Like, hey, thanks for buying it. Now let me stalk you with every other day an email. I don't have that time. I don't have that attention span. I'm not that kind of guy. Just not going to do it. But if you don't trust that process, you can go to Amazon.com. Amazon.com has the Ripple Effect, maximizing the power of relationships for your life and business. Third edition, that's what you want to get. They still have some second editions that they're trying to unload. Don't buy that one. Buy the third edition. We're trying to bump those numbers up. And exciting, I wish, let's see, do I have a sound effect on this thing? Let's see. Woo. Does this work? Yes. I don't know if that even will come across in the podcast, but I just did the party horn, my friends, my party horn, and let's do it. Yes. The Ripple Effect, maximizing the power of relationships for your life and business. Third edition is now available on audio, on Audible. I said audio, but it is audio via Audible. But oh my God. Labor of love getting that thing out. Finally got it approved about a week and a half ago. Done zero promotion for it. But if you like this voice, hey, how's it going? You will like that Audible version of the Ripple Effect because I read it to you. And even though the book is the gospel of connecting and all the things that you need to be doing to build a better relationship with your network, one of the things I will tell you is there's a few little surprises in the audio book that I was able to get away with that Audible did not catch, that I threw in there just for you guys. So all those of you that are listening to want to listen to me talk and, read you the book, like, you just get in the covers one night and just put your ear pods on and be like, let's have a nice evening with Steve. Like you see on this video, I got a little fireplace thing going on. I can't put a fireplace in my office, but I can have one thanks to YouTube. Again, another thing that blew my dad away. Like, why would I want to have a fireplace on my TV? I don't know, Dad. It's calming. I'm just saying. But then we could just be like, okay, Steve, read to me. Negative networking. The story I just shared with you is a prime example of what I call, quote unquote, negative networking. You've probably already had your own experience with negative. I don't sound that creepy. Let's just say I worked really hard on the audio and I engineered it, produced it, totally pumped. And it's a value. It's a deal on Audible today. So go to Audible, look for it. Can't autograph it in the sky, but if you tell me you got it, I tell you what, I will do something amazing for you. Like shout out future podcast episode, talk through some, some of my great supporters, people that like it. I would love for you to listen to it. Let me know what you think. Please put a review on Amazon and Audible when you do so. That would make all the world of difference to me. So, pulling up my little iPad here because I want to talk to you about $510. $510? No, that's not the cost of my book. But if it was, that would be awesome. It'd be even more awesome if people actually wrote a check for that or put it on their card. But that's not what I'm talking about. $510 is the value that I bring to the gal that cuts my hair per year. And I want to talk to you a little bit about this process because there are two things that I want to look at. I want to talk about the lifetime value, and then I want to talk about the value that you bring to the table. And we're probably going to just do this a little bit intermixed because it's on my mind. A couple of reasons. One, I was kind of curious what my value was to the little franchise organization that, this particular hairstylist works at, who has become my favorite. She's awesome. She likes it. She tries to make me look good. By the way, if you see this little hole in my hair, that is not her. I've got a health issue going on right now. I'm losing crap. I don't know what the hell's happening, but it's related to a little thing I got going on. Generally know that I have a flare up when I start losing large patches of hair. So that's why. Don't blame her on this. This was not a poor quality haircut. She's just trying to work with it the best she can. But I've actually been going to this gal for, let's probably say about the last 4 years, right? And I pay her way more than they charge me. It's one of these like discounted, you're looking at it on YouTube. You're like, yeah, no doubt it's a discounted. You got no stylist, man. You got no style. I know, I'm getting old. My hair just kind of does what it wants to do. And so, I go every 3 weeks, and out of a 52-week period, I generally go on the cheap day. It got me honest. Shocker, I know, right? But I go on the day that they give a little bit of a discount for men's haircuts. Why? Just because I like to get my hair cut on a Tuesday, Thursday. That's my deal. I don't want to waste my precious weekend going to get my hair cut. No way, Jose. I like going during the business day, like during my lunch hour, so I can get it knocked out and be done. But I was there the other day, and I bump her thing up pretty considerably. One, they're putting their lives on at risk with, as are all service folks, right? Grocery store workers, people that interact with the public on a regular basis, not to mention our law enforcement and our healthcare workers. But she does too, right? She's there to make sure that you look good and presentable out there in public, even though we're not supposed to see each other, not supposed to really be hanging out. You might find yourself on video like myself right now talking to you or on this podcast, and you look me up on, the Google, and you want to see some guy that's, got a reasonably respectful haircut, right? So I try and keep myself in that vein. That's what I do. Maybe I am vain. Maybe that's why I go and get my haircut. Well, mainly because I get my haircut because if I let it go too long, it poofs out like I'm a chia pet. But I digress. But I was there the other day and I was like, I go on the discount day, but I actually bump hers up. And the other stylists really hate this. And I don't mean to offend anybody, and I kind of am quiet about it, but they all know, right? Oh, Harper's here, and Miss Kitty's going to get a a nice tip out of it. I assume she doesn't have to share that with anybody like sometimes you do when you're a waitress or a waiter or whatever. But I think the haircut's like 14 bucks. And I say, hey, bump it up to 30, right? Not because I want to be a big spender or a big wig or any of that. I basically want to be able to acknowledge what a great job she does for me every single time. She has the greatest personality. She represents that business so well. And I keep coming back to her because of that. I could cut my own hair at home. Wouldn't go well, but El Cheapo, as my kids call me, El Cheapo, like El Chapo, but El Cheapo, which I emulate that title. I could do that. I can go get one of those Flobies. I found out George Clooney does his own hair with a Flobie. Like he announced on like CBS this morning that would send the stuff skyrocketing. I could do that. It could be me and George doing the Flobie. Spend one-time cost on a Flobie. I could probably get 2 for what I spend in haircuts a year. Hang on. But then Miss Kitty wouldn't actually get to see me. And we wouldn't get to have the fun interaction that we do. And so I want to, I wouldn't say reward her. I want to recognize her for the great service and the work that she does. But aside from the relationship with Kitty, I started thinking about what my value is to that company. And I'll get to why this is top of mind. I've talked about it before. I've actually even blogged about your lifetime value, what you really need to know and understand, whether you're running a business or you're a consumer of a business. I think it's important for you to recognize the power that those almighty dollars have. But I basically looked at the overall cost of revenue, right? And my commitment to Kitty is, if I get my haircut every 3 weeks out of a 52-week year, that's approximately 17 times that I'll get my hair cut. And if I do $30 per visit, right? That's $510 of revenue, theoretically, that go to that business. I'm not talking about where she takes her portion and they take their portion. I'm just saying my value when I walk in that door is $510. And in fact, I did it. I was doing the math just to make sure because math is not my strong suit at all. But I was also thinking of, the coffee shop, like whether you go to Starbucks or your local your local coffee spot, let's say you go there 3 or 4 times a week, but let's just say 3. That's $10.50 a year or a week times, let's say 52 weeks. You may or may not go there every week, right? But you get where I'm going. The value you walk in with, every customer that walks in that door, if they are on average, 2 to 3 times a week, is a $546. Probably can't see that. It's backwards on the camera, but $546 value to the customer. And I'm going to stick with the coffee example. I go to the same Starbucks. If I've been going there for 5 years, that value over the course of that 5 years is worth $2,730. $2,700 that when you walk in the door, that's the value that person represents to the organization, to the business, right? And the reason I share this is a lot of companies don't recognize or know what the value is of their customers. What's the average length of time that they'll stay with you? How often will they partake in your product or your service or purchase whatever it is that you offer? And if you're a business owner or you're running a company, even if you've got a side hustle, I encourage you to actually do the math on this. Because when you start to look at it, when you look at the time value of money, right? Over the period of time, what is the value of the money that customer will bring to your business? Well, rather than a $3.50 cup of coffee or a $30 haircut, you start to treat them and look at them differently, right? When you look at the micro, the transactional value of a customer, you just look at what they did today or what have you done for me lately? What did you do this week? And maybe for the coffee example, $10.50 doesn't seem like a lot, but over the course of a year, over the course of 3 years, over the course of 5 years, over the course of 10 years, that value gets up there pretty significantly. And I think it's important as consumers that we recognize and understand the value that we bring to the table for 2 reasons. One, how much we're spending on stuff maybe we don't need. right? That's important because you may be burning through cash that would allow you to maybe reduce your expenses a little bit, maybe not spend as much, because if you go to the same place and you're spending this kind of money, but they don't treat you anyway, like you're anything special. And I'm not saying that, they should every single time, but I'll get to that in just a second. But at the end of the day, if you're not valued for what that cost is or what the revenue is that you bring to the table, well, maybe you should like trim that back a little bit. Maybe if they don't recognize you, don't make you feel special, you're not really getting any extra value of the service, and they do treat you like you're a transaction, like a $3.50 cup of coffee, well, maybe do something a little bit different. Maybe spend a little less, maybe spend it somewhere else. I don't know. But I think it's important. I also think it's really important to know your lifetime value. And I use lifetime kind of open-ended because it could be the average in terms of how long a customer stays. Maybe you move, go to a different Starbucks, different coffee shop, whatever. Maybe I move, go to a different haircut place. They don't really know how long that they're going to have me, but they can speculate, right? And if they can look at their average tenure of customers from the first time they visited to the last time that they've been in, that at least gives you some baseline to calculate. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not a math guy. I'm not good at explaining math, but you get the point, right? So I'm trying to share with you my perspective here. So here's the thing though, companies then have the opportunity to look at that person as more than just a transaction and actually do something to make them feel special. And they don't have to be super big. Like Kitty gave me this hairspray thing for my hair. It's an in-hair conditioner. It's like this little minty thing, makes me feel like a rock star when I put it in. It's a leave-in kind of situation. You don't wash it out. And she thinks maybe it could potentially help me with my issue. And those of you that are seeing this on video are probably like, oh, well, dude, you got alopecia, man. You got alopecia. I might, but I don't. I've got an immune compromised system going on. And go back to some earlier videos. You'll know why, how I didn't take care of my health. And I ended up costing me. And when I have a flare up with this situation, that is a result, actually, aside from feeling crappy. That's like my first predictor. My second predictor is little pops of like wafts of hair just drop out. Like, what the hell, man? What the hell? This is not cool. Anyway, she didn't have to give this to me. She didn't have to put this thing in front of me, but she did one time. And she's like, take it. It's a gift. You're always in here. You always do you're such a great customer. And I love, the fact that you keep coming back to me. This thing was, I don't know, at the time, $15, $18 bottle of, magic formula. And it worked. That was a bonus. Last time I had this problem, I'm putting it on like a madman now. But I've purchased those things over and over again from her, not to as many times as she would probably like. I think they get commission on that stuff too, but she always asks me. She's great. She's a great salesperson, but as well as a hairstylist. But I've purchased more, and those are products I wouldn't have purchased had it not been for her putting this in my hands at zero cost. And I could see that the haircut place would probably be like, oh my God, you just gave away an $18 bottle of whatever, magic formula. But at the end of the day, when you look at the overall value that I bring in terms of revenue to that place, that's a drop in the bucket. And I think those things are important from a business owner perspective to look at what can you be doing. The little things make big differences. The little things have huge, huge ripple effects to how customers view you viewing them. They will feel appreciated. They will feel recognized. They will go to the ends of the earth to promote how great you are for something so insignificantly small. That investment is in that relationship to make sure that that $510 comes back every year, right? And is it so much to ask as a consumer that you kind of reward us for these things? No. Is it too much to ask you as a business owner, entrepreneur, as a manager to think outside the box beyond the transaction to really understand what you need to do in order to make those experiences magical, to keep that revenue going? And if your boss or your CFO or your CPA complains about those things, have to point out to the fact that, look, this is an investment. It's a marketing and relationship investment that will pay off dividends because they will keep coming back for that experience. They're going to wait for and want what's next, right? In addition to the great service that they're already paying for or product, et cetera. So that's one thing. But as a consumer, understanding your lifetime value, I think, is also critical. So I've been a customer of Dish for a long time. I have a love-hate relationship with Dish Network. But I was able to successfully, about a year, 2 years ago, reduce my bill because I came prepared to a conversation. I got to be honest with you, I was unhappy with some of the channels they had dropped and some of the services, and I wanted to let them know and tell them I was considering leaving. And let's face it, it's a major pain in the ass for me to switch. They know this, but they don't know for sure that it's a major pain in the ass. But they have what they call a customer save team. And these folks are, hey, what can we do for you? Can we upgrade your receiver? Can we give you a better remote? Can we throw on a channel that you maybe didn't know we had? I mean, they're little things, but they're save tactics, right? And I told them, no, what you could do is reduce my bill. Oh, can't do that. No way can we do that. That's you're asking for crazy town now. And yeah, I might be, but let me just explain to you how long I've been with you, time, how much I've spent over that period of time, money, and what my true value to you as a customer is, both in ongoing revenue, lifetime value, but also what the future value of me being a customer could be. If I was with you for 10 years and I stayed with you another 10 years, what are you saving here? What are you really, really doing to save that? So no, I don't want a new remote that cost you probably $12. I want a reduction in my bill for that same amount or more for the course of the upcoming year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. Give me something substantial. And when you as a customer understand that value, you can then be in a position of negotiating. And I don't think consumers look at this from that perspective all the time that they should. And that's the problem, is that we walk in and we also treat these things as transactions. We also look at our situation as kind of, singular events, and they're not. If you have a product or a service that you acquire over and over and over again, you need to walk in with an understanding of what your lifetime value is to that business and what the value of that is to that company, whoever it is, and what potentially losing that might mean to them. And now you open up a whole plethora of conversation that you can negotiate, better fees, better service, better whatever, lifetime of free remotes. I have no idea. The bottom line was, had I not understood that before I had this conversation with this customer service save rep, then I would have just been going, well, I've been a customer for 12 years and this is unacceptable. Well, now you're a pain in the ass customer. Now you're like, you're throwing shade on me. You're getting angry, you're getting upset. No, I was calm, collected, just said, hey, look, here's the deal. This is what I've spent with you guys thus far. What is my value to you to continue to do it for, assuming the next 5-10 years? And is that worth a little bit more? Is that worth a little bit of consideration? And of course, they have to go talk to their supervisors. And that supervisor, if they're half intelligent, looks at zero revenue point forward versus, hey, yeah, reduce his bill by 10%, 20%, whatever. So I would say that is super critical. Now, let me flip gears on you for a second. And I want you to think about understanding your value as an individual, as an employee, etc. And I want you to recognize what your lifetime value is so that you are better equipped to have those conversations yourself, whether it's paying yourself what you're worth as an entrepreneur and business owner, which many of us do not. I am totally guilty of this. I'm way undervalued or underpaid for what I do. And I probably need to adjust that at some point. But if I'm an employee or I'm working towards, a next level jump for my career, I want to get to that next rung on the career ladder. You need to understand the value that you've brought and what you bring and be able to have that conversation so that you can adequately explain to whoever is ahead of you what you are bringing in terms of value to the organization and then where you want to be. I had a consulting client that I was working with that really, really struggled. She was really, really good at what she did, and she's phenomenal, but her rates essentially have not been changed in well over 10 years. And we started talking about her relationships, and a lot of the clients that she's worked with She's been very blessed to have continued ongoing retainer relationships. And oftentimes when you started looking at all of the time and the value and the effort that she was putting in, when we actually did the arithmetic on it and started, putting pen to paper, we actually started realizing that she is so way lower than where she should be on an hourly basis. And the question was like, it blew her away when I said, hey, where do you want to be per hour? What do you think your value is? In a perfect world, where do you think you should be? And in one respect, she didn't act like she had talked about it or had thought about it, I should say. In another respect, she absolutely knew what her counterparts were getting paid and was a little bit resentful she had never had the gumption to ask for that. And so I said, look, here's the situation. I actually used the dish example when we were talking about it. When you go back to a client that has been paying you and you say, it's time to renegotiate our rates, because here are the reasons why. Not because I'm greedy and because I want more money, but because I need to make sure that this relationship is a good fit for us both. And one of the measures of a good fit is figuring out that we have a fair and equitable exchange of commerce between us for the efforts that you're receiving as a benefit of my service. And she was like blown away. She's like, oh my God, I don't think I could have that conversation. Everybody that knows they're getting a deal knows they're getting a deal, right? Your client is not any different. They know that they are getting far more than they are paying from you. And at some point, Pied Piper's going to come to collect. Money. I'm just doing a money little thing. Like, give me, just for you listeners. Does that make sense? So, and you know it, there are things that you have that you're taking advantage of in terms of products or services that you were underpaying for. And at some point, price is going to go up, right? It's America. It's the world. This is how the economy works, my friends. So we got prepared. We looked at the financial aspects of what she was doing. We gave some comparisons. And I said, hey, look, are you prepared at this juncture to potentially lose that customer? She looked at me like, oh my God, what are you talking about? Now, you were talking about giving me more money. Now you're talking about I might get zero money. Well, you have to know what your value is. And you also have to know and be considerate of that value enough to know that at some juncture, if somebody's not willing to pay you what you're worth, then you might need to risk that relationship to walk away. And yes, for a period of time, it would mean that you have zero revenue coming from this client that's been steady Eddie forever. But what do you get back in that aspect? Well, you get time, you get opportunities they keep you super busy and doing things. You're resentful for it, so that you're probably not giving your best effort. You're frustrated you're not getting paid for what you're worth, and that's a problem. But at the end of the day, you're also so consumed with this engagement that it's not giving you the time to go out and look for clients that will value for your current set of skills at the current rate you need to be paid, which means you're losing opportunity, which means that you're stuck and your business is in neutral because you're chasing the dollars, however many you can get. But at the end of the day, you're not ever growing or expanding your opportunity. You need to understand what your lifetime value is. You need to understand what you bring to the table, and you need to be able to adequately explain how paying you more is actually going to work out in their favor and benefit them in some regard. And this was pre-COVID, right? So this kind of transpired over the course of the COVID situation. She was really hesitant to have that call and talk. Now we're like, oh my God, can we save the revenue because, COVID is hitting. She was super worried about entering into that conversation because of the situation, unfolding the way it was. A lot of people were out of work. A lot of people were losing jobs, opportunities. Is this the time to be, upsetting the apple cart? And I'm like, absolutely. Why? Because this is the time that they are going to recognize the value in you even more. Oh my gosh, look at how we're continuing to move forward. Look at all the projects that are continuing to make progress, all because of you. And you're doing it in times that are very challenging, and you're doing it in an environment that is extremely difficult, and you're having success, which puts you in the driver's seat to have that conversation. She had that conversation probably about midsummer, took that long to get going. But once that conversation actually took place, she was blown away. Number one, she was able to offload some of the BS work that they knew that they were putting on her plate, but they shouldn't be, and allow her to focus on the bigger term strategy, allowed her to engage at a much larger level on some bigger projects. But they knew they would pay for that, but they knew the results of her work. And yes, they knew someday she'd come knocking to say, look, what we negotiated 3 years ago is not good for us today. That worked back then does not work today. We need to reevaluate and we need to readjust. And it worked out brilliantly. In fact, I talked to her this week, and the relationship has evolved to a point where she is making way more money than she ever expected. She's hitting her activities and milestones she's crushing it. And because she's crushing it, there have been some increases in bonus opportunity for her that her clients have recognized her for, i.e., rather than paying for a $14 haircut, she's now getting the $30. Totally, just crossing examples here. People pay and pay more for performance. So I guess my bottom line lesson here for you guys is I really want you to think about it both as a consumer and as a whatever you're doing in the world, whether you own your own business, whether you're working as an employee for someone and you're trying to figure out how you get a raise or how you move forward. You need to understand the value of what you bring to the table. You need to understand what that value means over the course of the lifetime, and lifetime can be speculative, right? Maybe you plan to only be in this career for 3 years or 5 years, or you've been at this company for X amount of years. And so understanding that time period and then how much longer you plan to be there, and what the potential pitfalls and costs might be to that organization to lose you. All that knowledge, all that experience, the go-to efforts that you bring to the table, that doesn't just easily get replaced. In fact, if you were to walk out the door today, it's going to cost that company, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1 to 1.5 your salary to replace that and get back to where you are today, probably somewhere close to a year and a half from now. That's a lot of cost, a lot of lost opportunity for a business. And so you have to understand that, and you have to understand the economics of your time value of money and ultimately understand your lifetime value. And then you're better equipped to have these negotiations, whether it be for your career path, whether it's asking for more money for the products or services, if you're selling as a business owner, or just plain being out there negotiating as a consumer for some of the services that are out there. You'll be amazed at how some of these organizations will rather have a few pennies from you than to have no pennies from you at all. And so, especially in today's world with the way things are, that thing can really, really benefit you. So, I want that's been top of my mind this week, mainly because we just had this conversation and she was looking at her year end where she was able to come for the last 6 months of 2020 and where she's already for 2021. It just gave me great pride. But then I was, on top of thinking about the value that I have when I walk into that place, if you're a business owner or you're an organization that, has generally sold on transactions, look at it differently. Look at your customers differently, and don't treat them like a $3.50 cup of coffee or a $13, $14 haircut. Look at them as something significantly more. And you'll be amazed at how when you do that, not only will they feel it and they will appreciate it, but when you actually give them that little extra service or you give them a little reward for coming in, how that story grows and generates. I mean, we haven't even talked about the possibilities of what happens to the narrative that they're sharing out there in the public about your business or your service or how you do it. I know for Kitty, actually, I got to be honest with you. I think she has 3 or 4 folks that go to see her regularly, maybe don't go as often as I do, but essentially 3 or 4 customers. Let's just say I brought another potential, 3 customers that go as regularly as I do. Instead of me being a $510, customer to her, I'm closer to $2,000, in a year's time because, 510 times 3, that gets us the 1530 plus my 5, we're talking about 2040. 2040, that's quick math right there, my friends. Yes. This is the genius at work. Yes. I wouldn't even use my calculator. Probably still did the math wrong. But my point being is that by bringing those folks back in, my value is actually way more than just what you see on the check. So that's what's on my mind today. I certainly appreciate you guys tuning in. I want you to go out there. I want you to think about what your value is. And if you have a problem figuring out how to ascertain that value, or you're struggling to be able to build the story or the case for how to go pitch or promote your boss, promote to your boss that you need a raise, or you're contemplating as a business owner or business leader a price increase, and you're really struggling on how you can justify or validate that, give me a call. We'll set up a session. We'll figure out a strategy session. Generally takes one or two to probably properly go through everything, but we could come up with the story that makes sense to you, and it would be an honor and a privilege for me to be able to coach you through that process, because it's an important one, and certainly would love the opportunity. If you've got questions about today's episode, drop me an email, steve@ripplecentral.com. If you know somebody that might benefit from this episode, whether it be the podcast that you're sharing or the YouTube channel, please share those links with your network. Tell people that, this guy is crazy, but he occasionally comes up with a couple of knowledge nuggets that could really benefit us. And the beautiful thing is, it's free, totally free, totally free. Where's my lifetime value right now? Man, I should really be thinking about that. That's not a good business strategy, is it? Is it? Yeah, it is. It's a good ripple, right? Trying to bring these things to the forefront so that you think about it so it can improve your life personally or professionally. That's my only goal. That's my payback. My lifetime value is to just have this opportunity to have this dialogue, this conversation with you. And I am damn glad we did. Let me say that right now. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Don't forget to check out The Ripple Effect, Maximizing the Power of Relationships for Your Life and Business, 3rd edition. Available now, ripplecentral.com, amazon.com, and now on Audible. So until next time, my friends, take care, be kind, go out there and make a difference in the world. And I'll just tell you right now, just go find your mojo, figure out how to, I'm trying to find my mouse so I can close this recording. Go out there, make a difference in the world, be kind to other people. And until next time, ripple on.